Illegal online gambling sites in the Philippines outnumber licensed platforms, hosting around 5,000 games, 72% more than the 2,900 on the legal sites. Now, that's according to social cultural research firm The Fourth Wall. The study also reveals that most players are casual, low-stakes users. They typically spend less than 5,000 pesos per month and play a few times a week, treating gambling as entertainment rather than a serious source of income. While the majority oppose a ban on regulated gambling, players want accessible, well-regulated platforms and stronger crackdowns on illegal operators. To shed more light on the study, we have Brylle Bae, Research Director at The Fourth Wall. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen, and to all your viewers.
Okay, before we go to your study, tell us a little bit about The Fourth Wall. Who comprises your team?
Well, The Fourth Wall is a socio-cultural research firm, and basically our focus is to understand the behavior of the Filipinos. That is why our hashtag is We Know the Filipino. So that's our main focus.
Pero is this tawag dito, volunteer work or is
No,
this?
it's a commercial research firm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, who commissioned this study into online gambling?
Well, this study is an independently made study by our team. And the reason why we did this study is because we were concerned that there is a raging debate about the online gambling, and yet when we did our digging of the data, there is no available data about the behavior of in online gambling.
Okay, so what comprises your scope of the online gambling space?
Well, we have two parts in the study. The first part of the study was a survey among 1,250 online gambling players nationwide, wherein we try to understand what motivates them to use the online gambling platforms, in order to understand how policymakers can shape.
And most of
behavior.
these players were at what age range?
Well, most of them are millennials, so age 26 to 35.
Paano mo na-identify sila? I mean, ito ba ay talamak sa edad na ito o talaga pumili kayo ng millennial?
We didn't filter it according to age. We did a random sampling across the nation.
And what did you notice? What were the findings of your study?
Well, the main finding is that most of these players, most of these online gambling players, play not because they are seeking higher income. Instead, they are playing either because A, they are curious, they want to try it out. B, they are bored and they want to be entertained. And or C, they were invited by their friends. Yeah. In fact, 92% of the online gambling players that we surveyed said that they were invited by their friends or their relatives.
So this is more of a casual thing for these players, a social, casual endeavor.
Correct. That's
them.
correct. Yeah.
And given that observation, how attached are they to these gambling sites? Kaya din ba nila bitawan na lang dahil casual lang? Ito ay parang kumbaga parang bored lang sila? O it starts from there and then eventually escalates?
Well, according to our survey data, when we ask them what would they do if there is a total ban of all online gambling platforms in the Philippines. And surprisingly, we found that 75% of them said that they will go to the unregulated spaces.
Kasi na-addict na.
Yes.
Sa game.
Not necessarily, but it's more because of the motivation that lies beneath
And what is the
playing.
motivation?
The main motivation really is leisure, entertainment, and also socializing because their peers are to a certain degree, it's they're
But
pressured.
now that the BSP has instructed the e-wallet apps to uncouple from these gambling apps, isn't it so much harder now to get into the game? Kasi isa-isahin mo pa yun eh. Kung nga ito yung game na gusto mo, pupuntahan mo, mag-log in ka. tapos magbabayad ka pa, maglalagay ka ng pera. Hindi ka tulad nung sa e-wallet na medyo madali, seamless, kumbaga may lead to the app na di ba? Isn't that enough of a deterrent? Baka sinasabi lang na they would want to jump ship to the website and they're okay to do that.
Based on our findings, it seems that it wouldn't be sufficient to curb the shift of these online gambling players to unregulated sites because the e-wallet advertisement, the e-wallet connection is just one of the ways that these unregulated platforms are attracting players to their sites. We have to remember that they're also doing aggressive marketing in social media.
Correct.
Some, we also observed, are using legitimate links to attract the players to their site. So, in a way, they're also
Pero
engaged
kasi
in
kung
phishing.
hindi naman para sa income, additional income, at dahil lang ito sa boredom, you would think that if it gets too much of a stress already to be able to access these gambling platforms, parang that would override yung parang enjoyment that they get from the app itself.
Yes, to a certain degree, Gretchen, that's true. But yun nga, there are other means for the platforms to attract them, and behaviorally, it will still lead them to those sites, diba?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as they exist in the space.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I want to go to your study on e-sabong. Is that a separate study? Because you also released you did a study on this after the nationwide ban on online cockfight betting since December 2022. What did that show?
Well, just to put it into context, the main focus of our second study is really on unregulated online gambling platforms. And
So wala sa e-sabong?
yes, we only found it
okay.
accidentally.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So tell us
Yes.
more about that.
Well, we found that in unregulated online gambling platforms, suspended games still persist, such one of which is e-sabong. If you remember, it has been suspended back in 2022, as you mentioned, and yet when we did our desk research and observation among these unregulated platforms, we found that e-sabong still persists and even if
Ilan ang
they're already
naglalaro sa
suspended.
nakita ninyo?
We were not able to collect data on how many are actually playing, but I think the fact alone that these suspended games still persist there means something. That in unregulated...
Well, it's not new to us that it persists. Like I was telling you earlier, kahit anong pinagbawal mo, it will still exist in one form or the other because it's human nature, right?
Yes.
I think the better indicator here is if there was a reduction in the number of gamblers if you do make it illegal to do and hard to access. So for example, dito sa platform na to, wala na yan, alam ng mga tao illegal, syempre meron pa rin yan, may illegal pa rin, di mawawala yan, nandyan pa rin. It's a given, right? Pero kung mula sa 100,000, naging 20,000 na lamang yung manlalaro, you affect the impact of this gambling site on the people.
Yes, that's
so,
correct.
Hindi ba yun? Parang wala ba kayong datos na ganon sa numbers?
Unfortunately, Gretchen, we do not have that data, and that is why we pursued this initiative. We took the initiative of doing this study because in our initial research, walang data talaga. And I think this, what you just pointed out, highlights the need for data on this issue. Kasi it's difficult to talk about this burning issue, a very thorny issue actually, na wala tayong data. No? Not just on the numbers of who are the players, but most importantly, yung behavior nila. If we do not have that data, it's very difficult to debate on such a thorny issue. And mind you, Gretchen, no, for every policy direction that
Correct.
the government will take, may ano yan may behavioral implications yan. No? So if say the government and the legislators decide total ban, ano yung implications no? Diba? Or if say, okay, sige, let's enforce stricter regulations, ano naman yung corresponding implications nun? So I think this calls for more
we do need the
research.
numbers,
Yes.
particularly when this was opened and linked to the e-wallet apps. Kung
Correct.
kamusta yung naging surge in gamblers. I have some numbers here. This was from yesterday's hearing. The PAGCOR reports there are now 32.1 million Pinoy e-gamblers. That's as of June 2025. From 2018, it was just 469,000. And so, if you take a look at that number, it means 1 in 3 Filipinos are now into online gambling. I guess the better data here is to check, no? Kung yun ba ay na-accelerate, yung number na yun, na-accelerate ng mga e-wallet apps. And what happens now when you decouple, meron bang pagbaba ng numero na yun? Because also, I say this dahil the legal gaming companies are joining hands over calling out the illegal websites.
Correct.
Which I feel like is a deviation from the main issue, which is ang dami na nagsusugal ngayon dahil madali na lang ma-access dito sa mga platform na legal. So it's also hard to say with blanket analysis na mapupunta lang lahat dito sa illegal, right? Hindi parang it's hard to make it 1:1 na pag binagbawal nyo, pupunta rin kami doon. Diba? Parang may ganong nuancing eh.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
what behaviors did you notice with those who are operating in the legal gambling sites, and what's the difference with those who were playing in the unregulated sites? Did you notice a difference?
Yeah. But before I answer that, no, let me just make a note dun sa minention mo about the 32 million
No, correct.
Who are
Yes.
playing online. And the e-wallets, no? Based on our previous survey, we found that actually majority of the online gambling players that we surveyed said na because of the e-wallets, parang they tend to trust the online gambling site more. Yun. So
Nagiging legitimate.
yes, it legitimizes the site, the presence of those e-wallets. So to relate dun sa ano mo kanina, yung observation mo kanina, you can look at it from that perspective as well, na baka kaya sila naglalaro is because they feel more safe
Kasi
and
nilalagay
secure.
sa games o nilalagay sa
Yes.
under the life. Wala na nga tinanggal na doon eh.
Correct.
Sineperate na eh.
Correct. Yon. So that's that's one possible angle to explain that 1 out of 3 Filipinos statistic that you mentioned. Now, on your question, in the second study that we made, what we noticed is the difference in the regulated and the unregulated platforms. We essentially, ang difference is while the two platforms are using the same technologies, they're using the same payment systems. Mas pinapadali ng mga unregulated platforms yung means mo. Like they are configuring their technology so that it will be much easier for people to enter, to register and play in their platform. Let me give you an example. In unregulated platforms, there is minimal or actually no KYCs, no? Walang mga
Key
age.
your credentials.
Yeah.
Kasi it is supposed to be for 21 and above.
Yes, 21 and above. But our study revealed na merong mga minors na nakakapasok sa mga unregulated platforms because of that. No? And then walang transaction limits sa unregulated platforms. Or if they use the e-wallets, which has a cap, di ba? They also offer other payment systems where there is no cap. Yun. So it essentially and
So,
difference.
pwede ka mag-credit card.
Exactly. Yeah, credit card, pwede rin cryptocurrency 'yon. So they offer those variety of payment options. 'Yon. So making it easier for people to play,
Pag
frictionless.
doon ka na addict, mas malaki pa yung maaaring mawala sa'yo.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And in these 1,250 online players that you studied, ano sila? Mostly ba panalo sila o mas marami sa kanila ang nalugi?
Hindi. Lumalabas sa study namin, tabla lang.
Tabla lang.
Yeah. Kasi nga, they're playing not because they want to earn more or...
What is the average betting amount that they're putting into these games?
If I recall correctly, it's around 1K to 2K on average per month. Tapos yung...
And they don't mind losing that amount?
Yeah, they don't mind losing that amount.
Okay, kasi yesterday, doon sa hearing, merong nag-testify na nagbigti yung kanyang anak dahil nga parang nalulong dito sa bisyong ito. May datos ba kayo dito, ilan dito sa 1,250 yung umaabot sa ganung punto na na-endanger na yung livelihood nila, yung family nila, and even yung health nila?
Walang lumalabas na ganon sa dun sa data namin kasi it's a quantitative survey and we were not able to capture any of those anecdotes or narratives that you mentioned.
Okay, maybe yun ang susunod.
Yeah.
Part 2 of that or part 3 of that research, right? I guess there's more to learn about this, and I think it's of course worth looking into. Pero enjoyment lang talaga, entertainment lang talaga.
Yeah,
it's the reason.
Looks based on the data, yes, that's what the data indicates.
It's probably also the dopamine high that they get and the escape, the allure of that feeling that you're winning in life, even through just gambling.
And to add also social influence. Yeah. It's a very social activity.
Pinagmamalaki nila yon sa isa't isa na naglalaro sila.
Yes. That one, we have evidence from the data.
Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo. Thank you for giving us insights. We'll throw that information to our next interviewee who could do something about it. In the meantime, we have Brylle Bae, Research Director at the Fourth Wall, talk to us about their latest study on online gambling.